You know, it's interesting. In the last 10 years, I feel like there's been such a reaction against sales or biz dev oriented founder CEOs in the Valley, and such an embrace of this cult of the programmer product CEO. It strikes me that so much of AOL's success was really due to your ability to get strategic deals done. I mean, even in the early days of convincing manufacturers to put modems in computers. I mean, do you think that was a core thing you needed at that time?
Yeah, I do, and I actually think it's a skill set's going to become more important in the future. I think the way I look at this is we've kind of had two waves of the internet, and we're about to have the third wave. The first wave, which obviously I was part of, was really building the idea of the internet, you know, popularizing it, building the core technologies, not just AOL, but Cisco and, you know, a lot of other people that were building that infrastructure, WorldCom, people building the communication network. A lot of people were investing to create the infrastructure to make it possible, and then create the on-ramps to make it, you know, possible. And that really was that first wave, basically a 15-year, you know, wave. The last 15 years has really been building on top of the internet. It's products and services that leverage the fact that everybody is now connected and creates things on top of that. Google being the most, you know, kind of obvious example, but Facebook and Twitter and others essentially are riding on that infrastructure. They're internet companies riding on top of what's already was built, which is why that, you know, it's sort of the second wave. I think the third wave, it kind of goes from building the internet to building on top of the internet to integrating the internet into our everyday lives in ways that will become increasingly seamless. And that's where things like the Internet of Things comes in. That's where the reinvention of education and healthcare and a lot of different industries will come. And I think that's a huge opportunity, both because a lot of those industries that have not yet disrupted are huge parts of our economy. Healthcare alone is 1/6 of our economy. So the huge opportunities, but it's going to require a different skill set with more partnerships, more understanding of government and policy to be able to knit together this tapestry of alliances necessary to really have, you know, transformative impact in those sectors. So the next 15 years, I think there will continue to be a lot of interesting companies that are built that many may be here tonight that are started and built on top of the infrastructure, another app in the App Store kind of mentality. But the big breakthrough companies, I think, in the next 15 years will be part of this third wave. And it's not just about what you do alone, it's about what you do in partnership with others. And many of those industries are more enterprise-driven than consumer-driven because there are decision makers at a school district or at a hospital that need to be part of that decision. So it's a different kind of mentality. And to really have a significant impact, you're going to have to figure out ways to partner with them. And you're also going to need to understand that government's going to play a role, more than you'd like. There is clearly a kind of a libertarian mindset in the entrepreneurial community, particularly in the Silicon Valley world, which is fine. But if you're going to attack the problem of learning or attack the problem of health, you should recognize the government is not just the principal regulator, and will continue to be, but also the principal customer. The government spends more on healthcare than anybody else. So if you want to revolutionize healthcare, you probably need to be engaged with your major customer, which happens to be the government. And so I think that too will require a different skill set. So I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't see an evolution of how companies are architected and how teams are built to recognize in this third wave it's a different mentality, a different skill set than we've seen in the second wave.